Hello, my name is Thomas Moser. I'm a global sales manager at Travel Oregon, and today we'll be covering what the global sales team does day in and day out to increase international visitation to the state of Oregon.
To set the scene, Oregon's tourism economy has grown since 2003 when the lodging bill that founded Travel Oregon was passed. In the 20 plus years of collecting this data, the state has seen an increase in the number of jobs, the earnings generated by those jobs, and the total amount that visitors spend while in Oregon. This becomes even more relevant when we start to discuss what details go into visitor spending. Using 2024 as an example, the state saw 14.3 billion in travel spending. 37% came from Oregonians traveling at least 50 miles from their house. Think weekend getaways on the coast or an overnight in Portland to see a concert. 57% came from Americans traveling from outside the state, maybe on a business trip or a family road trip. This would also include people exploring Oregon as part of a group and a motorcoach tour. 6% came from international visitation. What we see with international visitors is while they make up a small number of individual travelers, on average, each traveler spends more per day when compared to domestic visitors. Now we have the countries that make up the bulk of the work that global sales prioritizes. When picking these markets, we balance metrics like average stay and average spend against the resources it takes to engage the visitor. When looking at this information, it's important to see how different international markets impact Oregon's economy. People coming from the United Kingdom, Japan, and South Korea regularly outspend visitors coming from other markets. Another important detail is that visitors from European countries tend to stay longer due to generous vacation policies, where in the US we might get 2 weeks or 10 days of vacation. Depending on the country, Europeans can get anywhere from 35 to 43 days off each year, and traditionally they like to use that time to travel. Another big factor is that if Portland International Airport has a direct flight, countries like Mexico and Canada have a mix of destinations from year-round services to Vancouver or seasonal airlift to Calgary. One flight not represented on this slide is a seasonal flight on Icelandic Air to Keflavik. The reason for this is that Iceland Air tends to serve as something as a low-cost carrier connecting Europeans to North America, so we see a large mix of nationalities using this flight to enter Oregon. Travel Oregon works closely with the Port of Portland to manage the international flights. Looking across the Atlantic, we have great air service with British Airways to London, KLM to Amsterdam, and seasonal airlift with Condor and Iceland Air. In 2026, we saw more international seat capacity during the summer than ever before. Working with the port, we're working hard to see the return of a route servicing Asia and Mexico City. One of the biggest advantages is that international travelers plan well in advance. Unlike many domestic travelers who may decide to take a weekend trip a few weeks before they leave, international visitors often book 6 months to a year ahead and sometimes even longer. That gives tourism businesses greater certainty and allows hotels, attractions, and tour operators to forecast demand much earlier. International visitors also stay longer. After traveling thousands of miles to reach Oregon, they're not coming for just a weekend. Many spend 2 or 3 weeks exploring the Pacific Northwest, visiting multiple communities, and experiencing a wide variety of attractions. Longer stays means more nights in hotels, means more meals at local restaurants, and more visits to attractions. All this spending helps throughout the local economy. International visitors also help fill periods when many destinations are quieter. They often travel during shoulder seasons and are more likely to book midweek stays rather than concentrated their travel on the weekends. That helps spread visitation more evenly throughout the year and supports businesses during times when domestic demand may be lower. It's also important to recognize that international visitors supplement domestic tourism rather than compete with it. The goal isn't to replace Oregon visitors or travelers from neighboring states, it's to attract additional visitors who help fill available capacity and create more consistent business throughout the year. A healthy tourism economy relies on a mix of domestic and international visitors. Receptive tour operators are experts on the destination they're selling and trusted partners for the international travel industry. They know the destinations, they know the businesses, and they know how to turn individual experiences into complete vacations. Most receptive tour operators are based in the United States. In English and with US dollars, they negotiate pricing, gather product information, and create itineraries that are ready to be sold in the market's language and currency. Receptive tour operators aren't just making the reservations, They're selecting products they believe will appeal to international visitors. They're asking questions like, is this experience reliable? Does it fit into a larger itinerary? Can the business accommodate guests from different cultures? And is it easy to book? An international tour operator is the company that actually markets the vacation in the traveler's home country. Rather than contracting individual hotels or attractions in Oregon, international tour operators purchase ready-to-book products and itineraries from receptive tour operators. The receptive has already done the work of building the itinerary and negotiating rates. The international tour operator then takes that package and prepares it for visitors in their own market. International tour operators also combine destinations to make complete vacations. An Oregon itinerary might become part of a larger Pacific Northwest holiday that includes Seattle and Vancouver. Their job is to create a seamless journey that appeals to their customer. The final link in the travel trade chain is the travel agent. This is the person who works directly with the traveler and is often the only member of the travel trade that visitor ever interacts with. For many international visitors, their travel agent is a trusted advisor. If that advisor recommends spending 2 nights on the Oregon coast or taking a guided kayak tour, that recommendation carries a great deal of weight. That's why the work done by receptive operators at international tour operators is so important. They provide travel agents with quality itineraries and accurate information, making it easy for them to confidently recommend Oregon. Travel agents also play an important role in preparing visitors when they leave home. They communicate essential information such as luggage requirements, driving requirements, weather expectations, entry rules, and other practical travel tips. Their goal is to make sure that travelers feel informed and prepared. Although you may never speak directly with the travel agent who sold a visitor their trip, the information and experience you provide to receptive tour operators eventually makes its way down the chain. Every accurate description, every great photo, and every dependable experience helps that travel agent feel confident saying to their client, I think you're going to love Oregon. All this to say, international visitors buy their travel a bit differently. While Americans will book an entire trip from their living room, in other places around the world, it's not uncommon for people to go to a physical store and be shown a catalog of potential destinations. A big difference is that these trips people book at these agencies basically come with travel insurance. That is, depending on the country, there are consumer protection laws guaranteeing the trip. At the end of the day, what global sales is trying to achieve is increasing the number of Oregon itineraries available for purchase at these retail travel agencies around the world. If you'd like to learn more, we have another session that goes into more depth about how to work with receptive tour operators and how to actually get your product listed into this buying chain. Also, if you're currently working with online travel agencies, then you've already dipped your toes into working with the travel trade. So how does global sales do this work? We have 4 pillars: trade shows, contractors, sales missions, and fan tours. At trade shows, Travel Oregon and our industry partners sit down for scheduled business appointments with buyers who are actively looking for new destinations and experiences. In just a few days, we can meet with dozens of receptive operators, tour operators, and travel advisors from multiple countries. It's one of the most effective ways to introduce Oregon products to the international marketplace. But it's important to understand that trade shows aren't about making an immediate sale. They're about building relationships. Many of the buyers we meet have worked with us for years. Others are just meeting Oregon for the first time. Every conversation is an opportunity to better understand their market, learn what they're looking for, and identify where Oregon businesses might fit into their future itineraries. For Oregon tourism businesses, these events create opportunities as well. Many of our partners participate alongside Travel Oregon, giving them direct access to buyers they might never meet on their own. Even if you're not attending a trade show yourself, the relationships that Travel Oregon develops help create opportunities that benefit businesses across the state. We always recommend checking with your local DMO to see how your business might help fulfill the leads that we collect. Because trade shows are only the beginning of the relationship, a successful appointment doesn't end when the conference closes. It's all about the follow-up emails, virtual meetings, and familiarization tours that come after the show. While trade shows are an important part of the relationship building process, they're only a few days out of the year. To maintain a consistent presence in our international market, Travel Oregon works with a network of in-market contractors. Today, we have 8 contractors representing our key international markets, Some represent a single country, while others oversee multiple markets. For example, one contractor works across the Scandinavian countries, while another supports Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. This approach allows us to maintain local presence without having staff permanently based around the world. While a global sales team attends major international trade shows, our contractors attend many additional regional events on our behalf. Also, contractors are continually pitching story ideas to journalists and publications, helping to keep media coverage that keeps Oregon top of mind for potential visitors. Because they're in the same time zone as tour operators and travel advisors, they can meet with clients regularly and respond quickly to opportunities. Finally, our contractors serve as our eyes and ears in the market. They consistently monitor which tour operators are selling Oregon and what new itineraries are being developed. That information helps us measure our successes, identify new opportunities, and adapt our sales strategies as markets evolve. Ultimately, sales missions are about keeping Oregon top of mind. They reinforce the relationships we've built at trade shows, introduce new tourism products, and give our industry partners direct access to the people who influence international travel decisions. When buyers return to their offices after a sales mission, we want them thinking not just about Oregon as a destination, but about the businesses they experienced along the way. We also try to make these educational sessions fun. That might mean incorporating Oregon food and wine, doing an interactive activity, or having regional themes that help attendees experience a little bit about Oregon without ever having to leave their home country. The more memorable the experience, the more likely they are to remember Oregon when they're building itineraries or recommending destinations to their clients. Often we do this with content created for the B2B space, like this video made in partnership with Brand USA. If I had to choose the single most effective tool we have for promoting Oregon internationally, it would be a familiarization tour, or FAM. Simply put, a FAM is an opportunity for tour operators, travel advisors, or media to experience Oregon firsthand. It's one thing to read about in a hotel or an attraction in a brochure. It's something completely different to walk through the property, meet the staff, and taste the food. Those first-hand experiences give people the confidence to recommend Oregon to their clients. For tour operators, FAMs are essentially a test drive. They are evaluating the products they'll eventually sell. They're asking themselves questions like, is this hotel a good fit for my customer? Does this attraction deliver a memorable experience? And can I include this stop in an itinerary? They're also looking for new experiences they can add to existing itineraries to make their Oregon programs even stronger. It's important to understand the timing of FAM tours. While many take place during the summer months, that's simply because it's easier to travel and many of our international tourism partners have greater availability. It doesn't mean we're only promoting summer travel. In fact, one of Travel Oregon's goals is to position the state as a year-round destination. Throughout the course of the FAM, we're also talking about shoulder season experiences so buyers can confidently sell Oregon in every season. We've covered what global sales does to influence international travel. And so next, let's talk about what you can do to make international visitors feel welcome and how your business can partner with Travel Oregon. Everything we've talked about today is designed to bring international visitors to Oregon. Once they're here, it's up to all of us to make them feel welcome. The interaction visitors have with front desk staff, restaurant servers, and guides often become the memories they take home. One of the easiest ways to create a better experience is with better communication. Many international visitors speak English, but not everyone speaks the same version of English. We often use slang, regional expressions, or phrases that make perfect sense to us, but can be confusing to someone who learned English in a classroom. For example, instead of saying head down, it can be much clearer to say go downstairs. Rather than using expressions like hang tight, you're all set, or give me a minute, choose simple, direct language whenever possible. It's also important to understand that speaking louder doesn't make English easier to understand. Instead, speak a little bit more slowly, pause between ideas, and use clear, simple words. If someone doesn't understand, try rephrasing your sentence instead of repeating it louder. Measurements are another area where we can make small adjustments that have a big impact. Much of the world uses kilometers, Celsius, and the 24-hour clock. If someone asks how far and away an attraction is, saying it's about a 15-minute drive is often more helpful than saying it's 10 miles away. If you do use miles or Fahrenheit, consider using the metric equivalent as well. One of the best ways to get involved is by participating in FAM tours. As we've discussed, FAMs are the most effective tools for introducing tour operators, travel advisors, and media to Oregon. Whether you're providing accommodations, hosting an activity, or simply sharing your story, your participation helps create experiences that eventually bring the visitors back. I also encourage you to stay connected with your RDMOs and local DMOs. Those organizations work closely with Travel Oregon, they know what opportunities are coming up, and they can help identify businesses that are ready to engage with the travel trade. It's equally important to connect with your own community. International visitors don't just experience the business, they experience the destination. Hotels, restaurants, attractions, transportation providers, retailers, and guides all contribute to that experience. Working together creates stronger itineraries, more compelling stories, and better visitor experiences than any single business can provide on its own. Lastly, when the opportunity is right, consider participating in travel trade events. Whether you're attending alongside Travel Oregon at a major international marketplace or participating in regional networking opportunities, these events are where the relationships begin. If you're new to the travel trade, showing up and learning from the process is a valuable first step. Everything we've covered today, from understanding the buying chain to working with receptive tour operators, participating in FAMs, and engaging with Travel Oregon, is about creating opportunities. International visitation doesn't happen overnight, but with collaboration, consistency, and a welcoming spirit, we can continue to grow Oregon's reputation as a destination that's not only beautiful to visit, but easy to experience and impossible to forget. Thank you for your time today, and thank you for everything you do to make Oregon such a special place to visit.